Greetings, brothers and sisters. Got some various things to cover, a lot of Fox News stuff for some reason. Apparently, Tucker Carlson did an interview with Tucker J. Carlson, and I haven't watched it yet. Let's go through it a little bit here. Fishboy.
Do you think Biden will stay in the race?
Look, I watch him just like you do. And I think it's...
Fishboy. Like, he just does it all. You can't... Once you see it, right, it's just not the lips. The lips are the key. Without the lips, it wouldn't work. But, like, it's just Fishboy, right? Like...
almost inappropriate for me to say it. But I deal with other people. I don't see how it's possible. And it's not an age thing. You know, like I say, I have friends that are 80.
Yeah, because you're only, 2 years younger than Biden? I mean, they're practically the same age. And so he was like, you can't make it an age thing because he's, he's definitely sharper than Jojo Magoo. But he's deteriorated. And you do. Like we just saw the Dalai Lama, right? And the older you get past 70, some people age, everyone ages at different speeds. So Trump isn't, doesn't have dementia. But you just, you don't have it in you. You don't have the physical energy either, right? Like you just don't have it. And so there is a peak age for, again, the presidency's a joke, doesn't matter. They're all handled. They don't have any real power. But, there's a peak age where you have wisdom, but you're still young enough to do things. And, 50s, 60s, I don't know what it is. In terms of like politics, but you're on the back end of your life, right? And both Trump and Biden are there. And Trump had his chance 4 years ago, and whatever it was, 3 years ago. And his administration sucked, and the way he went out, all these things, right? I mean, it's for all you Trumpers, he didn't do it the first time, right? Like. You can rearrange reality all you want, but he didn't, get these things done. Amazing amount of liberal agenda got pushed through under his, I don't even want to call it liberal, whatever this is we're looking at, got pushed through on his presidency. And so he's not going to have the power to do it this time if he didn't do it the first time, right? You can't make the same promises twice after he, the second time, you can't believe him, right? Because he would have done it the first time if he could, or if he really wanted to.
89, 92. Bernie Marcus, Home Depot is 95. Smart as hell.
Look at you.
As sharp as he was. I mean, he's, mentally, Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, founder of Home Depot, one of the founders.
Let's talk about Bernie Marcus. Let's do 10 minutes on Bernie Marcus.
I mean, I had a meeting with him a few months ago. He was 100%. I know people that
100% right there.
Built their fortunes from...
He built his fortune. Look at him. Like he's just got it all going on here. The question was about Joe Biden. He keeps on going here. He's definitely rambling.
You could end up in a third world war, and this guy's going to be in Ireland and not having a news conference. He hasn't had a news conference, I guess, in months. I saw today where he has.
What's this news conference you speak of, Fishboy? Do you mean press conference? I think you mean press conference. He's definitely not as sharp as he was. And, the whole thing, I mean, it's an old white guy off. Like, that's what this is, right? And they're kind of the same guy. They're just different versions of the same guy. So he gets into who he should run, right? And he talks about Kamala Harris. Weird, this must be the Trump, Mar-a-Lago with the pillars and stuff. But he says this about Gavin Newsom.
Great with him, when I was president. Got along really good, Gavin.
Well, you got along with Gavin Newsom?
I did. I really did. He was always very nice to me. He said the greatest things. He would say things like he's doing a great job. Oh, he was very nice.
About you?
About me. That's why I could never hit him, because he was so nice to me.
That's Trump in a nutshell. Anybody who's nice to him, he won't hit, right? Like, that's all that matters, that you're nice to Trump. That's the center of Fishboy's universe. I mean, being serious about this is Trump's big problem, that he 100% wants no criticism, no questioning of his anything. You know, he might turn on you if you are, like he did on some of his, like Cohen and some of his other people. If he has to throw somebody under the bus, sure. But the most important thing for Trump and foreign leaders or anybody in the news is that they're nice to him, right? He just can't take any sort of criticism or anything questioning him and his failed policies.
But I could, he was very nice to me, and relatively speaking.
Gavin Newsom's a disaster. Like, he's much worse than Biden or Kamala Harris. I mean, he's not senile, and, I don't know if he's a legitimate presidential candidate, but what he's done in California, if that was replicated for America, I mean, it would accelerate everything. Like, he's a disaster, and Trump's supposed to be against this kind of thing. Like, he was supposed to be saving America. But the guy was really nice to me. I don't know. He's pretty nice. He's a nice guy. He likes Trump. He likes Fishboy. I don't know. He gave me some fish food one time, and I was like, come on, this guy's a good guy. Gavin Newsom. So if this is classic Fishboy here, he's just like, come on, you. If Trump saw himself or saw somebody that's doing this, he wouldn't maybe come up with Fishboy, but something like that. Tucker Carlson asked him about what he would do if he gets convicted, and he says this.
Off statute of limitations or years off. It's hard to believe. Usually when you have something like that.
Again, the question was, what are you going to do if you get convicted in the middle of your presidential campaign? He's just rambling about statute of limitations. It's a legitimate question because he'd be a felony, he couldn't run. Plus, he might have to serve some jail time. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. But, he's got to address that as a serious concern as a presidential candidate, right? So then they get into, this is a horrible interview. I mean, Trump is kind of unwatchable now. He's lost his his zip or whatever it was, Fishboy. And Tucker Carlson asked him about how when they raided where they are now, Mar-a-Lago, and now the arrest, his poll numbers have spiked dramatically. He's getting a lot more support. And so therefore, it hurts DeSantis. It kills DeSantis' chance of winning. And they're giving him left-right cover. He doesn't say that, but that's what's happening, right? They want Trump to run because he's the center of their universe. They may even want Trump to win. Like, who knows what's going on here with the powers that be. So he's talking about his poll numbers going up, but then he says this at the end.
A friend of mine who's a big business guy said, you have to be the most honest guy in the world.
You're definitely the most honest guy in the world. I mean, like, Fishboy.
So I don't see it going. I mean, we'll have to see.
So, but just to bottom line it, the purpose of this is to keep you out of the presidential race.
If I weren't running.
That's what he's saying, but, they're helping him.
Or if I had bad poll numbers, let's say.
Right.
And again, remember, the Democrats are the party of disinformation.
Both parties are the party of disinformation. Like, they're both liars. What about the disinformation you put out about Operation Warp Speed? Let's run the compilation here.
Very long. We've instituted it before. 2 additional companies, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. As you know, the Johnson & Johnson's a one-dose, one-shot vaccine, so we're going to see how that works. That would be very helpful if that all came out, and I think it probably will. Also, they're showing tremendous promise, all of them, tremendous problem. We're very hopeful that the FDA will authorize the Pfizer vaccine within days. We've got to get it moving. And Moderna vaccine almost immediately thereafter. Large numbers of tests and samples have been done, so hopefully that'll go very quickly. If authorized, tens of millions of vaccine doses will be available this month. And we'll get it distributed very quickly. We'll have that all set, and hundreds of millions more will quickly follow. Every American who wants the vaccine will be able to get the vaccine. And we think by spring we're going to be in a position that nobody would have believed possible just a few months ago. You know, amazing, really amazing. They say it's somewhat of a miracle, and I think that's true. The plan we put forward prioritizes the elderly and patients with underlying conditions, as well as healthcare workers and first responders. Greatest achievements was getting the vaccine done in 9 months instead of 5.5 to 12 years. But the problem is, you know, we saved tens of millions of lives all over the world, but I can't talk about it because our base, our beautiful base, of which some of you are there, you get angry when we mention the word vaccine. Don't get angry.
You did everything you could to get this vaccine out. I know where you
stand on the vaccine. It was one of the greatest achievements. We did it in less than 9 months.
To be able to do that.
Yeah,
but now it's taken a twist, right?
And then people don't want it. And it probably even affects the others because, you know, there's a big situation with a lot of people don't want to take the vaccine. Well, this played right into their hands. And they want me to do public service messages and everything about everybody taking the vaccine. And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. You know, to get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle. Fauci said it would take 3 to 5 years. He thought it was something that just wouldn't be that effective because it would take so long to get. I pushed the FDA like they have never been pushed before. I wouldn't exactly say they're in love with me. They have never. This is a very bureaucratic organization. I pushed them like they've never been pushed before, and that's why we have it.
The vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. Can you imagine if you had to go through what all of the countries of the world who are now getting the vaccine or soon will be getting it from various companies, but can you imagine if all of those countries had to go through what they've been going through over the last year? You'd lose hundreds of millions of people.
Let the teachers get the vaccine. They should get the vaccine. I hope they do. Again, it's something I'm very proud of. I think if we didn't come up during the Trump administration with a vaccine, you could have 100.
The best one, I'll play it again. I got a better version. I found it on Fox, where Trump said he was the father of the vaccine, and it was a miracle. He is claiming divinity. The vaccine was divine, and his, you know, whatever. This should put a stake in the coffin of this MNFer's candidacy. I mean, this is, you know, even for the most hardcore Trumpers, you got to see this guy got played. He played himself. He played you. I mean, just a, you know, absolute POS. Let's play that clip again.
And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. You know, to get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle.
Trump is alone. Trump is an anomaly. Trump is a maniac.
If they want you to run, if they want to run against somebody, they're going to go the opposite. For instance, they don't want to run against, and now I just gave you
But they're handing you all these great poll numbers and support, which you just said, you admitted to. And, you know, Tucker's pointed out, it's clearly that they're helping you right now. This is helping Trump. It's helping them, too, because they get to talk about Trump, right? That's why this is it screws everybody else, but it's a great thing for both of them. They need Trump, and Trump, you know, wants to be in the spotlight, so he needs them. And when they attack him, then Trump becomes relevant again. And then he gets, you know, run on both the left and the right-leaning newses, right?
poll. I'm 9 points up on Biden. But they're the party of disinformation. So what they say is, oh, we want to run against Trump. Now, they always do that. You know, they do that. And other people would do it, but they do it pretty much better than others.
Is there anything they could throw at you legally that would convince you to drop out of the race? If you get convicted in this case in New York,
no, I'd never drop out. No.
He's never going to drop out. What is he going to do, right? Like, this is Trump, you know, desperate to be the president again, right? He's like a guru. He's like a saintly figure to his minions, to the Fishboy worshipers. And so he can't undo that, right? Like he will never want to be a former president. I mean, he wants to die in office, right? Like it was just great for him. I want to get to Stormy Daniels. She had a weird interview on Fox as well. Inflation cooled to 5% in March, but consumer pain is set to linger. Experts say that even as price growth slows, it won't reverse outright, which is likely to be of little solace to consumers right now.
All right, so let's talk about the economy. We've got some breaking data to bring you.
That's right. Inflation fell by more than expected in March to 0.1% from the previous month and 5% on the year. So let's break down what this all means with NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung and Investopedia's editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Good morning to you both. Big news. So Brian, let's start.
Big news.
Big picture. Walk
It fell 0.1%.
us through what these numbers are showing and how they compare to previous months.
Yeah, Zinkley, Ellison, the broad story is that inflationary pressures are still there, but they're alleviating a little bit. So when we take a look at the year-over-year changes in prices, if we look at March, the number...
Okay, we don't need to go through this. I just, we know what's happening, or you might know. But if you look at the numbers and you look at the amount of debt that was increased under both Trump and Biden with the bailouts, and you look at the, economic trends, the economy is insolvent. And inflation should be like 50%, 100%, I mean, something crazy. And they're purposely keeping it down to keep the economy going because it's all made up, right? It's all pretend. It's all illusionary. And, so inflation is much worse than they're saying. And they're, hiding the numbers. And, at some point it's going to give and people are going to, the dollar's value is going to plummet. It's all setting up for that. We know this, right? One of my viewers sent me this.
Why did you do it? You're obviously under pressure not to veto it, but you did. Why did you?
We started reading through this bill that was over 110 pages long. It was sold as an update to the guidelines of the Universal Commercial Code, backed by all of our financial institutions, our banks. As we started reading through it, we saw the section of the bill that changed the definition of currency. And essentially what it did was pave the way for a government-led CBDC, and it also banned any other form of cryptocurrency. For me, it very clearly was a threat to our freedom. In South Dakota, we are the first ones to really look at this bill and find out the truth of what's in it. And I did veto that bill. I'm asking my legislators to change their minds, to make the right decision and help me kill this bill once and for all. I believe it's to pave a way for the federal government.
Okay, so again, Kristi Noem is being celebrated as some kind of truther and, blah, 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 blah. But apparently there was a bill, and I didn't read it, and she said she has, that was going to wipe out all other forms of crypto and, move us into a digital currency, which we know that they've been wanting to do forever. And there's going to be a massive amount of wealth lost when they convert your currency to crypto. They're going to devalue the dollar. And so you're going to get pennies on your dollar. Let's say you have $1 million in the bank. You'll get the equivalent, and they won't tell you this. It won't seem like this because it's not apples to apples, right? And so when they convert your cash into their government-run crypto, it'll be like $1 million will be converted into like 100,000 or 10,000 or something, right? In terms of your ability to buy things. And that's the way to get rid of all this wealth. And people who, think they have a lot of money will have, practically nothing. And they'll inflate all these things because, now... your house will be worth like, say, millions of dollars. And so you won't be able to buy a home because in crypto, the new crypto, government-run crypto, you won't have enough to buy a house or whatever it is. And they inflate the taxes and things like this. You won't be able to afford to keep your own home. And next thing you know, you're living in Agenda 31 housing, right? That's how they would do it. They could wipe out an astronomical amount of wealth by devaluing the dollar in relationship to this new either U.S. Crypto or global cryptocurrency. And once the American dollar is no longer the world reserve currency, or they're not, this whole petrodollar, then there'll be all this wealth that's lost. And America will be like a third world country. And that's their plan. And, whether they do it this way or that way, or no matter how it shakes out, there's no stopping them. They can't stop doing this because the economy is effed, right? It's so upside down that they have to do something. They have to wipe out your belief in what you think you're owed, what you think you're worth, because there's not enough currency, there's not enough value to go around. And so they got to take people's wealth, whether they close banks, whether they collapse the stock market, whatever they do, wealth is just going to disappear, especially in America, but globally. And then everyone who's, thinks that they're entitled and they've reached this level of, whatever it is going to have next to nothing, right? And, that's just what's happening. Stormy Daniels tries to summon spirits with magic cards during interview. My eyes filled with tears.
Specific to my case, I don't think that his crimes against me are worthy of incarceration.
This is the artist, the porn star formerly known as Horseface. Donald Trump didn't commit any crimes against you. He paid you off. You guys had an affair, and he gave you $120,000, $130,000 in hush money. That's not a crime against you. That is whatever, they're calling in New York, fraud, hush money crimes, whatever. 33 crimes of paying a porn star not to tell your wife you banged her, right? In this case, America. And you took the money and signed a non-disclosure agreement.
I feel like the other things that he has done, if he is found guilty, absolutely, because a bigger problem is that if these allegations against him or whatever else that we don't know yet.
Allegations, right? We don't want these allegations to come. Exactly the kind of thing a porn star would say. It's the crime-fighting duo of Fishboy and Horseface together again.
He is found guilty or the evidence suggests that he is or whatever, and he doesn't, that it's going to just basically, it opens the door for other people to think they can get away with doing that and worse.
Jaime Lee Curtis addresses the controversial photo in her office. I understand it has disturbed some people. So this is back from January of this year. I didn't cover it at the time, but I've been covering Jaime Lee Curtis, and she has such a huge following. And it was put up by the New York Post, and she said this. Last week I posted a picture of some chairs that included a photograph on the wall by an artist that was gifted to me 20 years ago. I understand it's disturbed some people. As I have said, I am a truth teller. So here's the truth. It's a picture of a child taken by her mother of her playing in the backyard in a tub of water. Nothing more, nothing less. I took down the post because I didn't want to keep something up that upset anyone. So the New York Post, this is what they said, again back January 19th. Jaime Lee Curtis slammed for a photo of naked child in a box. Strong Epstein vibes. Here's the photo back here. You can see it down here better. There's the chairs that she showed you. So this is in her office, right? In her house. And this is the picture, and it's just creepy as F. And forget about Epstein, forget about pizza stuff, forget about all those things, right? Like that's just, that is whatever it is. That whole view of these things, the QBs that got into it, the whole thing got, contaminated and weird, a lot of disinformation. Just throw that out. Forget about that for just a moment. Look at this picture. Do you want to see this every day? Do you want to have this in your kitchen? It's creepy as F, right? Regardless of what it is or what it isn't, what it represents to her, what the so-called artists in air quotes wanted to convey here, this is creepy to look at. It looks like some kind of torture. It looks like maybe the kid's dead. It's, unpleasant to look at. It's, why would you want this in your house? Why would you want to see this every day? You can afford art, regardless of what she's saying here, it's creepy. And this is, what she thinks is, how do you look at that and go, oh, wow, I want to see this every day for the rest of my life. I want to put this in a prominent place in my home, and I want people to come into my home and have to look at this, creepy photo. It's just so messed up, right? And I should add here that she had it on her house. She had it in her house for 20 years. She had this picture up for 20 years and then posted on the internet, and people are like, what, WTF? And she was like, all right, I'll take it down. Right? Biden's drug czar declares fentanyl laced with animal tranquilizer is an emerging threat facing the U.S. Fentanyl mixed with veterinary sedative xylazine or whatever has been linked to a sharp increase in overdose death across the country. I've talked about this. What was it called? The nickname of it? Trank. Right? Mixing trank with fentanyl is a big thing now. And fentanyl's been deadly and trank's been deadly. And together they're, more deadly. And these are all pharmaceutical medications, right? These are things being produced by the pharmaceutical industry, and they're getting abused by people. And the pharmaceutical industry has so much power. We've seen this time and time again. Same people who are, pushing all the COVID medications and vaccines and things like that. Big pharma. Arnold Schwarzenegger posts video filling a giant pothole in L.A., but the city say it was actually a service trench. And so there's a trench here that was there for a reason, and Arnold's decided to take it upon himself and post a video of him doing that, right? Today, after the whole neighborhood has been upset about this giant pothole that's been screwing up cars and bicycles for weeks, I went out with my team and fixed it. I always say, let's not complain. Let's do something about it. Here we go. The problem also here, it looks like it's been cut for a reason. This isn't a pothole. They've cut this cement here like it's been cut. This isn't that's not a pothole. You just can't go and mess with governmental roads, right? But Arnold. So they have some goofy music playing in the background. He went out and got, some mix to fix the road. There he is there. He's wearing his sunglasses, his Terminator glasses. Look at him go. But you can see this has been cut for a reason. And they're out there, again, who knows why it's been cut. Here are these people. You get on video.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You have to do it yourself. This is crazy. For 3 weeks.
He's wearing a leather coat.
I've been waiting for this hole to be closed.
Thank you. Bye.
Screw your freedom. Like, here he goes. They clearly cut this for some reason. But that's not a pothole. There he goes, doing his thing, sweeping up this, clean it up. And then he's going to throw some sand on it for some reason. Arnold getting it done. Okay, so I had one comment I was going to respond to. Got to get some outdoor work done today. So let me see. This person writes this to a video where Epic Fishboy and Hillary comments Jaime Lee Curtis and expiration date. This was a video. It took forever for YouTube to green. Are you sure you don't believe in psychological model? ? You sure have bought into access to diagnosis. Anyway, you might be interested in some work by some dude. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not promoting him. He has a talk about the origins of the DSM. I found both enlightening and infuriating. This person doesn't realize, that's a hostile comment, or maybe they do. I don't know. That somehow, people are always like, "I caught you," right? You're a fraud, and you actually do believe in the DSM. Because you talk about it. Well, I was trained in it. And, there's, I'm just reading through the Tiffany Dover comments because she resurfaced yesterday in a video I made. This woman from Tennessee who got the vax and passed out. And there was another woman from MSNBC who's does truther stuff. She's called Truther. She has a blog saying Tiffany is dead or whatever it is. And she's been stalking Tiffany just like the Tiffany Dover stalkers. And I think it's the real person, whatever it is. And doesn't matter. I don't care, right? But a lot of people are still obsessed with her being dead. And of course that isn't her. That's a clone, you know, all these things. I'm reading these comments today. And the difference between me and most of you and most truthers in general, I just don't care about any of it. Like, I am comfortable not knowing. I'm comfortable not having, like, a definitive answer because things are always changing. Your ability to perceive things, the information's always changing. And it's all a sea of lies. And trying to, you know, grab onto something, which most people want to do, is, you know, lock into something and then not admit you're wrong when it happens, you know, to the evidence surfaces or whatever. I mean, it's a big problem in the truth community and then in general. Like, I just don't care because it's all a big, giant lie, right? I call it the show. The psychological model of the DSM diagnosis is there's some truth in it. There is some accuracy in it. There is ways that you can apply these diagnoses on people. You know, you could also call, like, some sort of multi-personality situation, like a multiple personality disorder that's now the identity disorder. So what is it? Anxiety? I don't know, something. Dissociative identity disorder. And you could call that demonic possession, right? There's different ways of looking at it. But they're all negative. They don't provide a solution. And it's a good way to understand pathology of other people that are so far gone. You know, they fit into these various categories. And I don't know exactly how accurate the DSM-5 is. And some things, you know, that's political. They just changed various things like to do with the gender thing and all these kind of stuff. It's, you know, politically motivated. It's not science. But either way, you know, there is some truth in it. There's some things about it that work, just like with allopathic medicine. Allopathic medicine is good for diagnosing conditions and understanding various ways the body works, but it's a symptom-based, for-profit medicine, right? Just like the psychological model is, they don't ever help you get what you need and find real purpose because they don't have it themselves, right? They don't know what the real goal of human life is. They don't know why you're here. They're not acknowledging a soul or spiritual essence. And so they can't help you with that, right? And they can't blame the system either. Neither can the allopathic medicine. No one's going to blame the system because the system is supposed to be infallible. And so, you know, when I cover these things, like this person's like, well, you really believe in that? You say you don't, but you do. Well, it's more sophisticated than that, right? It's more nuanced. And, you know, why do I have to explain your inability to perceive what I'm saying? Like, you know, like people expect you to explain yourself all the time and your point of view, and you're not going to accept it anyway because you probably aren't, you don't have the capability or the perceptive ability to accept it, to understand, you know, this level of, you know, the level I've come to in regards to the truther stuff, because you're not acknowledging the flaws in your own, you know, personal egotistic way of viewing the world and needing to, like, hold on to something solid, right? Like, you have to, like, well, if that's not the truth, then this has to be the truth. And that's been the big problem in the truth community, that we can all kind of agree on the problems, but the solutions are, you know, most people don't have any solutions, or they can't say that this is what the lie is, but they can't tell you what the truth is, right? And so, you know, the truth is that the lies are so pervasive and the lies are so much a part of everything that there's nothing pure enough that you can grab onto that's going to help you, you know, navigate this, you know, situation other than God, like, you know, other than, you know, connecting to God at a deeper level and, you know, and internally, which I talk about all the time. That's the only answer, because you have to find something outside of the third dimensional shit show we have here and connect to something deeper. And if you're not doing that, then you have no chance of grasping the truth, because you're never going to find truth in the world of illusion. Anyways, I'm going to go do some outside things. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Parvado, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.